Hello everyone. Today we will learn together how to quickly build and simulate a three-phase inverter system. First, let's briefly review the types of three-phase inverters. Common voltage source inverters and current source inverters differ structurally. Voltage source inverters maintain constant voltage through capacitors on the DC side. Current source inverters rely on DC side inductors to maintain constant current. Here we focus on the three-phase, two-level voltage source inverter. Its topology is shown on the left. It consists of 6 IGBT switches with anti-parallel diodes. Filter capacitors are needed on the DC side to stabilize the input voltage. The output AC voltage through a three-phase filter. Its core function is to generate the required three-phase AC waveform by combining switching states. On the right are its voltage equations for phases A, B, and C. To achieve precise inverter control, vector control is adopted. Its core involves transforming three-phase AC signals into DC signals by DQ transformation. For the transformed DC signals, dual-loop voltage and current control is used to maintain control accuracy, and includes a feed-forward decoupling element to avoid inductive coupling interference. As shown on the right is the closed-loop control block diagram. What are the advantages of vector control? First, simplified control logic. After decoupling the DQ axis, separate control allows managing output active power and reactive power compensation. Second, optimized dynamic response. After coordinate transformation, DQ axes are DC signals. The closed-loop control response speed is much faster than for AC signals. Third, elimination of steady-state error. The integral action of the PI controller on DC signals enables zero steady-state error tracking. In coordinate transformation, Clark transformation is first applied to convert the ABC coordinate system to the alpha-beta coordinate system. Part transformation then follows to obtain the two-phase synchronous rotating DQ axis coordinate system, transforming the original AC signals into DC signals and achieving decoupled control. The voltage expression is also transformed from 3 time domain equations to 2 frequency domain equations, because in the design, we used inductor filtering. After coordinate transformation, inductive coupling terms from the other axis also exist in the DQ axis voltages. Therefore, a feed-forward decoupling element must be added, as mentioned in the control block diagram on the previous page. For modulation, we use SVPWM modulation. Based on the position of the voltage space vector, the switching state is determined, thereby generating a rotating magnetomotive force. As we all know, SVPWM modulation offers many advantages. First, high DC bus voltage utilization. Second, lower output voltage harmonics. Third, better dynamic response and steady-state performance. That concludes the theoretical part. Next, we will use DSIM software for practical implementation. After opening DSIM software, we see the Start page. The Start page allows quick access to recent files. You can also see the user manual and some built-in cases. The main interface shows the element library on the left, the canvas in the center, and the menu bar at the top. DSIM works in a similar way to other simulation software, but its speed of simulating power electronics is faster. Let's begin building. First, find the DC voltage source in sources voltage. Find the three-phase inverter module in the switch modules. In the switch modules, you can see many DC-DC, DC-AC, three-phase, and single-phase switch modules available. Next, find the AC filter inductor, three-phase load, and the DC side capacitor in your LC branches. Connect them by drawing wires. The wiring logic is similar to other simulation software. As mentioned earlier, DQ transformation is required. So, we need to acquire three-phase voltages and currents for coordinate transformation. Besides the main element library on the left, commonly used elements are also available in the bottom bar, including resistors, inductors, capacitors, current sensors, and voltage sensors. Add current sensors and voltage sensors in each phase to acquire AC voltage and AC current. This simulation is an off-grid inverter, so the load side can be directly grounded. To keep the schematic clean and modular, we use the label function. This is similar to the go to and from functions in Simulink. We add labels to the three-phase currents and voltages. In control and coordinate transformation, we can reference them using these labels. When setting labels, ensure that names are modified correctly. First, if names are identical, it will cause label value confusion. Second, when using labels as inputs, the reference value is based entirely on the name matching the corresponding output value. The main circuit is now complete. Next is the coordinate transformation part. First, copy the three-phase voltage labels. In the left element library, find the coordinate transformation module. Within it, you'll find DQ transformation and nearly all necessary modules, including forward and inverse transformations. Select the ABC to DQ coordinate transformation module. Similarly, copy the three-phase current labels. Next, create new labels as outputs for the DQ axis currents and voltages after transformation. The coordinate transformation module has two additional pins that need connection. The pin on the right side is the output of the zero-axis component after coordinate transformation. However, in an ideal system, the zero-axis component is generally low. Double-click to open the detail page, and find that only the name and transformation flag are available, without seeing the relevant definition at the other pin. We need to click Help to access the user manual. We can see the definition at the transformation flag, and the bottom input is the angle value required for the transformation from alpha-beta axis to DQ axis. As mentioned, we are simulating an off-grid three-phase inverter, so the angle needs to be generated internally. Find the sawtooth voltage source in the source voltage module. Set a sawtooth wave with amplitude pi and frequency 50 Hz as the angle. This completes the coordinate transformation module setup. Next, we will perform per-unit normalization. Why use per-unit normalization? Because after system normalization, the same set of control parameters can be used across different voltage or power levels. Apply per-unit normalization separately to the transformed IQ, ID, EQ, and ED. Divide them by preset voltage and current base values. After dividing by the current and voltage base values, we obtain ID asterisk, IQ asterisk, ED asterisk, EQ asterisk. These were signals serve as inputs for the voltage and current control loops. Next, we build the closed-loop control section. First, build the inner current loop. Build according to the control block diagram. The difference between the outer voltage loop output and ID asterisk, IQ asterisk provides the input to the current controller. We use PI controllers. Find the digital control module in the element library. DSIM supports both digital discrete and continuous control. Choose discrete PI controllers for this simulation, because discrete control better reflects practical applications. Set the PI controller gain to key PI and time constant to TIA. Note the PI controller has output limits. After per-unit normalization, ID asterisk, IQ asterisk input should be between 0 and 1. So set the limits to -10 and 10. Set the sampling frequency uniformly to 10 kHz. Is the output of the current loop PI controller the UD UQ used for modulation? Recall the earlier control block diagram. UD UQ actually consists of three parts. First, ED EQ. Second, the output of the current loop PI controller. Third, the coupling term caused by inductance. Therefore, per the block diagram, return to the simulation workspace. Find the three-input adder in the element library. Add a gain of omega multiply L for feed-forward decoupling, where omega equals to pi multiply F equals 100 multiply pi. Input ED asterisk, EQ asterisk, PI output, and feed-forward decoupling term into the other. Finally, we obtain UD and UQ. This completes the inner current loop. Next, let's build on the outer voltage loop. The outer voltage loop calculates the difference between ED asterisk, EQ asterisk, and their reference values to get the PI controller input. After PI controller regulation, it provides the input for the inner current loop. In the theoretical section, we mentioned the advantage of vector control is to couple DQ axis control. By controlling the D axis and Q axis separately, we can control the output active power and reactive power compensation of the three-phase inverter. Normally, we set the ED asterisk reference to 1 and EQ asterisk reference to 0, and the inverter will provide the active power and reactive power to the three-phase load with reference voltage. The outer voltage loop control is now complete. Next is SVP-WM modulation setup. Return to the left element library. Find the two-level SVP-WM modulation module under switch controllers. Notice that SVP-WM input is actually alpha-beta axis signals. So, we need to perform an inverse part transform on the DQ axis voltages. Like the part transform, the inverse part transform also requires the theta. Connect the SVP-WM modulation output to the switch tube input signals. Double-click the SVP-WM module and set the sampling frequency to 10 kHz. Thus the SVP-WM modulation part is finished. You may recall that in the earlier design, many parameters were represented by letters, like I base, U base, and gains like Kp. How do we use these parameters? DSIM has a function similar to global variables in MATLAB. Find the parameter file in the element library. Drag it onto the simulation canvas. Double-click the parameter file to open it. Then we can input the required parameter values directly. Set the DC bus voltage to 1000 volts, rated power to 20 kilowatts, and output line voltage amplitude base value to 380 volts. Based on these values, calculate the required filter capacitor, filter inductor, and load values. Enter the calculated results into the parameter file. Also calculate the PI controller parameters needed based on the system ratings. Parameter design is now complete. Future parameter modifications can be made centrally in this file, which is very convenient. Before starting the simulation, we need to configure the simulation environment. Click the Simulate button in the top menu bar. Drag the simulation control block onto the canvas. Double-click to open simulation settings. Here you can modify the name, select solver, and modify maximum step size, maximum waveform display step size, etc. This simulation will use default simulation parameters. The simulation time can also be quickly modified in the top menu. Set the time to 1 second. One final critical step remains. That is to connect voltage probes to the required measurement points. Only variables connected to voltage probes can be read and observed in the DSIM viewer after simulation. In the top menu bar, there are various options where element operations are available, including cut, copy, paste, disable, short, circuit, vertical flip, horizontal flip. After connecting the voltage probes, rename them accordingly for easy selection and observation in the DSIM viewer. After setting voltage probe names, click Run to start simulation. The simulation message at the bottom shows a failure alert. Failure is caused by a loop formed only by capacitors and voltage sources. Click the failure reason line to directly locate the problematic element with highlighted display. Double-click the power supply. Values for series resistance and inductor were forgotten. After filling in the values, click Run again. The simulation message bar shows successful simulation, and the speed is very fast. After simulation completes, the DSIM viewer opens automatically. Click to select, then click Add to add variables to the viewer, or double-click directly. First observe phasor current. We can see the phasor current reaches steady state after some time. The detailed information of the variable is on the left side of the viewer. Include variables name, curve color, and display toggle. After observing phasor current, select ID** and ID** reference. Because it has been normalized, values range between 0 and 1. Multiple observation tools are available above. Click Redraw the screen to adjust XY axis to optimal range. It can be seen from the variable waveforms that the current controller we designed has a good tracking effect, a fast response, and no overshoot. Then observe ED**, EQ**, and their reference values. Note that, although the response eventually caught up with the instruction value, the response speed was relatively slow, likely due to voltage controller parameter issues. There is a useful feature in the right menu. Click Stash to save current waveform for comparison. After stashing, variable names show at 1. This indicates the first temporary storage. Return to adjust control parameters. Increase proportional gain KPU. Decrease time constant TIU. Run again. Select ED** at 1, ED**, and ED** reference to observe. We can see, after adjusting voltage controller parameters, voltage tracking accelerates significantly without overshoot. Select IA at 1 and IA. Click Redraw the screen to adjust XY axis range. After parameter adjustment, phasor current reaches steady state faster. Then select ID** at 1, ID**, and ID** reference. By comparing the waveforms of these several variables, it can be concluded that the tracking effect of the D-axis current is the same as before the adjustment, indicating that the parameter design of the current controller is good, while there are indeed problems with the parameter design of the voltage controller. This concludes the simulation. Today we completed modeling, simulation, and optimization of a 3-phase inverter. Hope DSIM helps you master power electronics system design. If you need a trial license or technical support for DSIM, please visit the above link on the screen to access our official account or contact our support team. Post your questions in the comments section, and message us about topics you'd like to explore further. Thanks for watching. See you next time.